let us now immediately start. So we'll be coming to GS1 first. Okay, so as we know that GS1, it includes the following topics. It includes your history. So when we talk about history, we have Indian history, we have world history. Okay, so in Indian history, we know that we have the freedom struggle, and we have post independence India. Okay, so we have these two types of history in Indian history, and then we have the world history. Okay, and then you have art and culture. So we are talking about GS1, we are talking about mains. So in mains, you can see we have art and culture that is there in the syllabus. So then we have geography. So geography is of two types: physical geography, human geography. And finally, we have Indian society. So all of these four, if you look at the syllabus, we can broadly divide GS1 syllabus into these four topics. So we will be touching on each and every topic. Okay. So let us start. Let us start with history first. So first of all, when we talk about history, all the three types of history, the content is mostly static. As we all know, history is mostly static. It has already happened, right? The questions which are asked are, however, mostly analytical in nature. Okay, so when I use the word analytical, it basically means a question where someone is asking you a logical reason behind an event or behind whatever the question is he's trying to ask. So he wants a proper logical reasoning. So these are not direct questions. For example, they will not ask you a direct question like, say, the reasons behind 1857 revolt. They won't ask you that. They'll ask you, for example, the impact of 1857 revolt on the British policies. So that is a reason which requires certain type of thinking. But we do not need to be afraid of this word analytical. Okay, sometimes we tend to get afraid of this word because it looks like a very hi-fi word, analytical. But it is not so. If you have read your book properly, if you have understood the events that happened, then it is very simple. Okay, so don't be afraid of this word analytical, because all the content is there in your resources. So I have already mentioned resource list. You might be having your own. So every content comes from your resources. You just need to put it in proper words. You need to know how to put it. So, okay, let us move ahead. So in history, it is very important that you always think from three dimensions. Very, very important: political, social, and economic. So this is very important, because what happens at times is that we fail to understand the issue from these three dimensions. So whatever you are reading, be it the freedom struggle, be it the post-independence India, world history, try to think from these three dimensions. It is very essential, because if you can see each and every decision, for example, the British took, had these three types of impacts. You will agree with me. Each and every decision, for example, the Indian National Congress took, had these three types of impacts. Each and every movement that happened, be it the non-cooperation movement, be it the Quit India movement, each and every movement has these three types of impacts. So you must be able to analyze from these three. So then you will automatically be able to answer each and every question in a very holistic manner. So you must do that. We'll take an example to just see how to do this. Okay. And in history, it is very, very important that you remember the timeline and years. Very important. Why? Because as we all know, history is nothing but events that took place in a chronology. That is the basic meaning of history, right? So it is very important that you remember these both aspects, timelines and years. So you must be able to recall the events that happened in the proper chronological manner. So that is why history demands revision. So, for example, when you study for your prelims, you continuously revise the topic, the events that took place. So, similarly, even from a mains perspective, you have to do so, because whenever you are writing your answers, they have to show that timeline of events that happened. And I'm telling you, if in history you are able to remember the timeline, then it becomes very easy to remember the points and able to reproduce them in the test. Okay. Also, it is very important that you remember the leaders, organizations, the viceroy, the committees and the reforms. So these are basically your keywords. These are your keywords. Every GS paper, my friends, has certain type of keywords that you must try to incorporate in your answer, in your notes, because these are the words that the examiner looks for while checking. आपका आंसर अगर सपोज से आपके आंसर में ये 4-5 चीजें ना हो, तब किसी को लगेगा कि हाँ भाई ये GS1 हिस्ट्री का आंसर है। तब किसी को लगेगा कि ये बच्चा जो है मेंस का एग्जाम दे रहा है। इट विल लुक एज इफ यू आर अ वेरी लेमैन पर्सन who had superficial knowledge, who suppose they had a knowledge equivalent to any ordinary citizen. So it should look like you are a student of GS. And so these have to be included in your answers. So whenever you make notes, try to include these. Whenever you write answers, try to include these. I'll give you an example. Okay. And finally, you must be aware of the historical events and figures in news. So this is very, very important. For example, we were celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, right? So this year in 2018, there was a question on the thoughts of Gandhiji. So similarly, even in 2017, there was a question which was based on this historic event, which were in news. For example, I think 2 years back, there was a question regarding the differences in personality between Subhash Chandra Bose and Mahatma Gandhi. So that was because Subhash Chandra Bose was recently in news. His files had been declassified. So similarly, all the historical events and figures related to modern history, which are in news, you must do them. So right, someone is pointing out that Champaran was there. For example, Jallianwala Bagh massacre anniversary was there, 100th year. So you have to have an idea of these events and you have to prepare them from a mains perspective as well. And always think from these 3 points and always think from these keywords. Okay, so let us take an example now. So we will be taking two examples. Okay, so first, for example, let us see this question. Discuss the reasons behind the British emerging as the most formidable power in India by the end of 18th century. Okay, so it is basically asking how the British were able to overcome other European powers as well as the Indian kingdoms that were existing at that time, be it the Mughals, be it any other kingdom. So if you look at this, so for example, I had just told you to think from the three dimensions. Okay, so let us think from the three dimensions in this particular question. Question number one. So when we talk about, suppose say, the political dimension of this question. So the political dimension, if you think, you can see that British, what they were able to do was they used diplomacy. They used strategic diplomacy, right? And they used policies. So you can name some policies like the subsidiary alliance, like the policy of ring fence. So all of these content is given in your resources, right? All of these are given. So if you think from a political dimension, you will be able to think from these two perspectives. Okay, right? So they were able to use diplomacy and policies to weaken the Indian kingdoms that were already there, to get them to fight amongst themselves, right? Now, if you think from an economic angle, so, for example, you might know that industrial revolution had happened in British, right? Industrial revolution had happened in British, and that is why it was one of the key reasons that they had a very strong naval and military organization. And this was very, very important in the way they were able to defeat the other European superpowers and also threaten the Mughals. Because, for example, Mughal kings were afraid of their naval supremacy. Similarly, the Portuguese, they were also afraid of their naval supremacy. And finally, if you think from a social perspective, we all know that unlike other European powers, Britishers, they were not interested in religious zeal at that time, religious conversions and all, right? And they also tried to acclimatize to the Indian customs at that particular time, because we are talking about the end of 18th century. Please remember, okay, we are talking when the Britishers had just come and now were expanding their power. Okay, so because for example, other superpowers like Portuguese, they were very much interested in religious conversion, and that is why they had to face a lot of resistance from the Indians, from the Indian kings. But Britishers did not do that, and that is why they stayed away from this. So just by analyzing from the three dimensions, you are able to put proper points in a proper structure. Okay, so this is very, very important, right? Let us come to the second question. Second question is about partition, that was a culmination of communal politics that started developing in the opening decades of the 20th century. Okay, So now this particular question number 2, so if you can just see, it is simply asking you to reproduce the timeline. It is a very simple question that just requires you to reproduce the timeline. So I was just telling you that you must focus on timeline in years. So if you just remember the timeline, it is very easy to answer this question. So for example, what you need to start is obviously a background. So you just tell us about what had happened till 20th century. Okay. So we know that the 20th century communal angle had not come into play. It was not at the forefront. But when we start with 20th century, obviously we start with the 1905 Bengal partition. So that was the time when all these communal politics it starts. Okay, and then you have to just reproduce from the timeline. So then you will say tell about the 1906 formation of the All India Muslim League, and then you will talk about 1909 Morley-Minto reforms. Okay, Morley-Minto reforms, because this is the start of communal electorate, communal reservation, as somebody is pointing out, right? Then we can talk about the Lucknow Pact, 1969 Lucknow Pact, because Lucknow Pact had what happened because of this, that the AIML, All India Muslim League, it gained legitimacy. The Congress recognized it. Again, then you will go to the 1920s, and then you will go to the 1930s when the elections took place and the All India Muslim League it suffered a heavy defeat, and that is the time when this seed of partition was sown, when they were very now sure that they had to go separate with India. And then finally, when you end, you will end with the 1940 Pakistan resolution that happened. So as we can see, it is nothing but simply reproduction of the timeline. So as I am saying, if you are able to remember the timeline of events, then you will be able to write the answer. If you are able to think from these three dimensions, you will be able to write the answer. Freedom struggle, my friends, is one of the most scoring sections in GS1, and it is very interesting as well. I hope you find history interesting, the freedom struggle of India interesting. And if through proper revision, through short notes, you are just able to remember and learn to analyze these things, I'm sure you will get very good marks. And just remember, we must include these keywords. So you must include these keywords. You must remember the name of viceroys. You must write the name of committees of reforms. Okay. So these are very, very important. So that is the way you go with history. Okay. And for post independence India and world history, so these two topics, these are certain topics where students they tend to be confused कि करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए. Okay, देखिए दोस्तों, I always say that please never ignore any section which is there in the syllabus. Please never ignore it, but give time which is in proportion to that topic. तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि कल को आप लोग जो हैं you have devoted 1 month to complete both of these topics. That is not good. Because if you analyze the previous year papers, like I've said, previous year papers हमेशा सामने रहेंगे. So if you see, hardly one question is coming. Hardly one question is coming from these two topics. Okay, so that is why I'm not saying do not study them. Please do, but focus on the main topics. So ये आप कर लीजिए. For example, I've written down the topics for your reference. So in post-independence India, we have consolidation, basically how our states were formed, the linguistic angle that was there to the state formation, and how, for example, the role played by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the consolidation and all, right? And then wars. So obviously the Indo-China war, the Indo-Pakistan war, the Bangladesh war. So you have to do them properly. Emergency is another very important topic you must do, and green revolution. So I feel these four topics are very important. You always do the complete chapter properly, complete topic properly, but these four topics, these are very important topics. Okay, similarly, when we talk about world history, all the revolutions that are there, American Revolution is there, French Revolution is there. So these revolutions are important. Then you have the topic of colonialism. Okay, so colonialism is very, very important. Okay, so someone is pointing me economic reforms of 1991. So you can cover that here, or you can cover that in economics. For example, in my case, it is mentioned in GS3. So you can do it in either GS1 or GS3. Okay. And someone also asked me about the book sources. So as I said already, I've given a video on my resource list, which is there on YouTube. So please see that. Okay, so let me just come back again here. So colonialism is very important because they have been asking certain questions on colonialism. And then you have the world wars, which are again very important, especially World War II. So in World War also we include United Nations, League of Nations and all. So all these are a part of World War. And finally you have Cold War. Okay. So these are the important topics in my humble opinion. And obviously you cover the entire syllabus, entire subject, but you have to focus on these because these topics, if you see, they have been the crux of what UPSC has been asking. And this is very, very important point. This is very important point. Try to link all the three histories. So this is very important and this will actually make history very interesting. So for example, you must be able to understand the impact of global revolutions on Indian freedom fighters. So what was the impact of American Revolution on Indian fighters? What was the impact of the Russian Revolution on Indian fighters? Okay, so when I say three histories, I basically mean our freedom struggle, our post-independence India, and world history. So these are the three histories, okay, and we must be able to link them because that is very, very important. So you must be able to link the impact of global revolutions on Indian freedom fighters, suppose say on how suppose say in post-independence India, in how suppose say Indian government was playing a role in world affairs. So as we all know, during the Cold War, India gave the non was at the forefront of the non-alignment movement. So you must be able to link, and when you are able to link, this becomes very interesting. And certain topics of post-independence India, they are linked with society. Okay, so society is also a part of your GS1. So certain topics, for example, state formation is a very favorite topic of UPSC. This year also they asked one or two questions on that. Regionalism. Okay, so these topics are there that are part of, that are linked with society. So you must be able to think from these dimensions. And finally, you must know how to use maps wherever possible. So maps are very easy to use in history as well. Maps ऐसा नहीं है कि only for geography. They are for history as well. So it is very simple. Suppose से आपको emergency है. So emergency पे कोई question आ रखा है. So you just have to show the impact of emergency. तो आपने जो है फटाफट मैप बनाया इंडिया का and you just highlight the region की देखिए नॉर्थ इंडिया में mainly impact रहा था. Similarly आपका border related कोई भी ऐसे आपसे इंडो चाइना वॉर पूछ रहे हैं. सो आप उसमें जो है यू कैन शो थ्रू मैप दैट इंडो चाइना वॉर ये था पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया, नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया एंड द जम्मू कश्मीर रीजन दैट वाज एट द forefront of this particular war. So simple use of maps which makes your answer more presentable. Okay friends, so this is about history and I'm pretty sure if you just think from these perspectives and study from these perspectives, you will be able to enjoy history and able to do very well in it. So it is a scoring section. Okay. So, okay, someone is asking me maps are to be drawn with pen or pencil. I used to draw with pen only. Listen, be practical because you have to write an exam in 3 hours, and I'm telling you, it is very difficult. It is one of the biggest challenges in UPSC to complete the paper on time. So I don't know if you have very good speed, then maybe you can use a pencil or not, but generally you do not have the time. Okay.